Respected Chief Guest, Dr. Alka Sharma, Principal of our Institute, Dr. B.N. Chaudhary, Dean R&D and Vice Principal, Dr. Y.S. Rao, Head of the Department, Dr. Reena Sonkupre, all the Deans and Heads of the Institute, dear colleagues, and all my dear participants. I, on behalf of Sardar Patel Institute of Technology, welcome all of you for the inauguration of AICTE Training and Learning Academy, sponsored one-week faculty development program on biomedical engineering systems and technologies, scheduled from 23rd November to 22nd November 2020. So let us join for the inauguration ceremony, virtual inauguration ceremony with Chief Guest Dr. Alka Sharma and Dr. B.N. Chaudhary and all the dignitaries.
This is all about science and technology. We are particularly myself, we belong to technology, but we less understood about the science. That is where the problem is all about it. So now we miserably fail in understanding or applying engineering in these domains, because our science background we have ignored. So that is where we have to join together or understand each other's problem. Then only it is possible to come out and develop these efficient solutions. Once again, I welcome you all to SPIT and congratulations. And I'm sure you will enjoy eminent speakers' presentations and their information this coming week.
The Department of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering was established in 2005 with a clear vision to create wealth of knowledge and develop unique skill set for the students so that they can gain expertise in various areas in personal and professional career. Again, we welcome you all to AICTE FDP on Biomedical Engineering Systems and Technologies. Thank you.
Good morning all. Chief guest of today's inaugural function, Dr. Alka Sharma, enthusiastic, proactive participant from different institutions of the country. I welcome you all on behalf of Sardar Patel Institute of Technology. It indeed gives me a great pleasure in welcoming you for this very interesting, exciting FDP on biomedical engineering systems and technologies. I am fascinated with the technologies developed or being developed by biomedical engineers so far to make our lives better and to save our lives. Dear participants, you will get opportunity to listen to and interact several experts in diversified domains. I congratulate Amol and his team for very splendid team of experts from diversified field. Post Diwali, it is indeed a feast to enjoy. All the best to you. I wish you an exciting learning week ahead. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to give you a brief overview of biotech sector. Over the past 5 years, the global biotechnology industry has grown by 5.1%. India contributes 3% market share in global biotechnology industry. India is ranked 12th in the world in biotech and 3rd in Asia Pacific. We are the largest vaccine manufacturer. On the right side, you can see the number of industries, startups, biotech products, incubators, teaching and research institutes in biotech sector across the country. Currently, our bioeconomy has crossed $50 billion US, and you can see from this slide the target is to achieve 100 billion bioeconomy by 2025. So, government is making all efforts by laying down a strategy, creating ecosystem to facilitate end-to-end processes, developing critical mass of desired skills, and addressing regulatory issues appropriately.
Another type of algorithm that we are working on is called robust classification. What that means is that not only should an algorithm learn to distinguish between class A and class B of images, it should also say that among the class A, these ones are difficult and most likely mislabeled. So why that is important is if you take a cancer slide and carve out many sub-images from it, there are going to be sub-images that are not useful because not every portion in the slide has cancer. Some could be fat, some could be stroma, etc., etc. So those are difficult for it to classify or useless for it to classify. So it should be able to detect them. You can see that the ones on the right are more densely packed with cells, and all of these are cancer cells. So whenever it doesn't see a cancer region, it finds that sub-image to be not useful. And based on that, when we average the results, we get better accuracy than if we just average across all the patches, all the sub-images.
So this is the example, like after using this technique, so what is the output? So if you see, the red one is the raw ECG signal, which has some EMG noise in the ECG signal and some power line noise also. So using this wavelet transform techniques, I am removing these noises. And if you see the blue signal is the output of this technique. So this is one example. This is another example where some baseline wonder is there, some motion artifacts is there. So I am not disturbing the signal qualities, but with this I am removing the noise. So we have to restrain the shape and the signal properties in time domain and frequency domain. Okay, the technique should be in such a way that it should not disturb the signal shape and its properties.
These are 4 Prahars data. So those 4 graphs are, morning 6 to 10. Prahar 2 is 10 to 2 in the afternoon. Prahar 3 is 2 to 6. And Prahar 4 is 6 to 10 at night. So when we say, in the morning eat like a Raja, and then in the afternoon eat like a prince, and so on. So you can actually see that with respect to graphs. Especially you can observe that during rainy season at night it's really bad. And this particular category of people should take good care of them, and so on.
Finally, you can see some images. So this is a diffuse optical tomography being done in 2-dimensional images, in 2D. So you can see the original object on the right side, and this is a reconstructed one. So this is done in using a finite element method. And you can see the corresponding 3D in FEM. So you can see an original object here and the reconstructed one. And these are the different planes to see how spatial localization is being done. So this is experimental setup. So with the algorithms that we developed, we were able to use a camera to do actually a flow measurement. And we employed it both in phantoms. Phantoms means these are materials which mimics the tissue optical properties. So what we did is we used a pump. We pumped some materials through this tissue mimicking phantoms. We used a camera here. We shined it with a laser, and from the scattered data, we were able to find out the autocorrelation you can see on the right side. As the flow is changing, this correlation curve shift to the left. As I told you for the alive and the dead rat, here when the flow changes, this correlation curve shift to the left. And we were able to do it with a camera, and that's our contribution.
Most of what I'm going to speak about will be my own personal experiences with technology and medicine, and the principles that I have learned along the way. And I think this would give you kind of a perspective of what a physician would like technology to evolve in terms of things that how we can improve patient experiences, improve patient care with the use of technology. Again, I've had the fortune of working at the Indian Institute of Science right now. This is an ongoing study with the Indian Institute of Science where we're looking at breath sounds. So every individual who gets diagnosed with COVID, who's in our hospital right now, for example, is given a simple so there's a website you log into, you give in your details, you cough and you breathe. There are certain maneuvers to leave certain sounds, and these sounds are recorded. They will be analyzed using artificial intelligence to see if there is some sort of a signature. So can we pick up individuals, who may from the comforts of their house, using a cell phone, go onto a website, cough out, and based on the sounds, would we be able to tell them that, listen, you may have a high chance of having COVID, so please go immediately and get yourself swabbed? Or can we tell them that, oh, listen, you may have a low chance, wait a day or two, maybe, look at it as an ongoing, evolving thing.
This is a typical view, a bird's eye view of operating theater. So this is how it actually looks. This is the surgeon. The assistant is operating the actual robot. she's taking out the equipment and she's replacing it with the another equipment. Patient's console has got these joysticks. These movements are extremely refined. So if surgeon has any tremors, those will be abolished by this robot. This is a viewfinder, that is a 3-dimensional viewfinder. It gives 10 times magnified view. And this is a video of how it looks outside patient's body. So when the surgeon is making any movement, the instrument is working inside. These are all interactive equipment, and you can also teach your colleagues, which is called as a dummy console, which is a second console. You can always take over the function of the assistant's console over you in case he is doing any mistake. So it's an excellent teaching tool as well, because one cannot imagine how you can see inside patient's body in a 3-dimensional view, high definition and magnification. So it's an excellent teaching tool as well. So in years to come, this is going to change the teaching perspective of the entire medical fraternity.
You can use the same for the cancer detection.
So X-ray was the very basic imaging techniques. After that, we found several types of sophisticated instruments. Some signal measurement instrument is blood pressure. So in signal measurement instrument, we will get some values. ECG, we will get some electrical signal generated by the heart. Then EEG, we will get the electrical signal generated by the brain. After that, the planar X-ray radiography means imaging came. So till that point, it is giving only the value of some physiological signal. But here, we will get kind of picture. The distribution of some body tissue parameter like X-ray coefficient, X-ray attenuation coefficient in one XY graph. So after that, we will get the X-ray CT. Here, we get only shadowing, and we get all the plane perpendicular to this body will be overlapped, but all the information will be mixed together in this planar radiography. And for that, doctor realized that some tomography is required.
So the first 5 observations, numbers start from 0. So that is 0 to 4 means 5 observation. Okay. So this is about. So next is see the dimension. So how to do that? So DF is the name of the frame. DF.shape. Shape gives you total data. So total there are 150 observations and the 5 attributes. You can able to see the scatter between these 2 variables, sepal length and sepal width. So you can use a graphical analysis as well.
So we are not happy with only taking a photo. We want to see how this looks. So you have something called as an OCT, or an optical coherence tomography. This line scan of an OCT or an optical coherence tomography is passing through the disc and the fovea, and this is how you see the line scan. In fact, it is similar to histological sections of the retina. So much so that with advent of technology, OCT was first introduced in 1991. OCT in ophthalmic practice came into force in the early to late 90s, and today the technology has progressed so much from time domain OCT to spectral domain OCT, and now in fact we have a swept source OCT, which gives an excellent demarcation and delineation of the layers of the retina.
But things have moved way ahead from things that we can visualize from with the naked eye to those with the microscope to things that we cannot visualize with the microscope straight away. So the advent of molecular techniques, wherein we are looking at the DNA and the chromosomes using sequencing methods, using what is known as fluorescence in situ hybridization techniques, and the PCR techniques, where we are looking for specific targeted mutations to help us diagnose and prognosticate the diseases.
This is the breadboard ICs as I have shown that some ICs are there, some connection points, jumpering points are there. It looks very say clumsy, and there are several say wires which may be loose. So it's very say rough circuit. We cannot make it very clear, or we cannot get that as final. So after that, after studying that is only for testing, we have to make this type of circuit.
Another example, what you see over here, there's few of these neurons that they have stained, and you can see with the heat plot that which regions are the neurons, axons, projections are more, and this is a certain kind of neurons which is called the orexin neurons, which is involved for hunger and food, and you see that which regions these neuronal projections are there, saying that which regions shall be affected by this, which is a very important information, knowing that. Because if there is in the amygdala, which is involved in fear learning and involved in also in appetitive preference, as I told during the optogenetics experiment, that you have projections over there, meaning that those in areas might be getting affected. So, and you can see beautiful meshwork of the projections, and this data has been taken out from the trail map. But this is a much more refined data of the trail map, and but you can get data like this out using machine learning algorithms.
So this is used to kill the bacteria Salmonella and E. coli on the top of almonds. So it took about 20 seconds to completely clear the bacteria, whereas in case of eggs, it took about 90-minute treatment to reduce the Salmonella, about 3.5 lakh colony forming units on the eggshell top, whereas other applications include the sterilization in unprocessed meat, killing the bacteria on the unprocessed meat. So some other industrial applications of this cold plasma jet is increasing the hydrophilic nature of plastic materials. For example, in this case polypropylene, where you can see normally it is having hydrophobicity effect, so it won't hold the water on top of that particular surface.
If you see, this is our body, a human body, and slowly you can see the 3 channel and 7 energy center. So this 3 channel and 7 energy center, and at the bottom you can see the Kundalini energy. Once this energy get activated, it goes to the first energy center, which you can see, it's called as the Muladhara chakra. It activates the Muladhara chakra, it manifests the quality of Muladhara chakra, it control all reproductive organ and excretory organ. Then it goes to the next energy center, which we call as the Swadhisthana chakra. It generates the gray cell for our brain. It control our memory loss, concentration thing. Then it goes to the next energy center, which we call as a Nabhi chakra. From the Nabhi chakra, it goes to the next energy center, which we call as a Hridaya chakra or heart chakra. After heart chakra, this energy goes to the Vishuddhi chakra. Vishuddhi chakra is located at the throat location. Once this energy reach there, you feel the very coolness on your throat. It control your ear, nose, eyes. It improve your communication skill. It control all your skin problem, and then it slowly glows from throat to the Agya chakra, which we call as optic chasma in scientific language. And after that, this energy come out from your head, that we call as a limbic area or Sahasrara. That time you feel the cool or hot vibration on your palm. So this is what we are achieving today.
Thank you very much for the wonderful sessions which you have organized, Dr. Amol and his team. I must congratulate and thanks for all the wonderful sessions.
It was a very nice experience, all 5 days, and we had various speakers, and I think there was something for everyone. Despite all of us being from different backgrounds, I think there was something for each one of us, given each one of our interests and our field of research. So that was one thing, and the speakers were very well chosen. I think they were all experts and renowned people, and even their work was quality work and commendable work.
I have attended so many workshops and seminars, both online and offline as well, but I have rarely come across such a brilliant team. who have actually been there for even a very small doubt which is put either in the WhatsApp group or in the chat box. It was dutifully answered. It was very scintillating experience for me with the Sardar Patel Institute of Technology.
We all know country has accepted national education policy, and multi-domain education will be imparted by the most of the institution. Time has come as technologies are forcing us to think differently and come out from our traditional and conventional approach in curriculum design and imparting the education, and give enough opportunities to present learners to have multidisciplinary and cross-disciplinary flavors.
I would like to go ahead with the vote of thanks as a coordinator of this FDP. So firstly, I would like to thank the AICTE officials, especially Dr. Sonia and Dr. Garg, who are directors and taking this Atal initiative ahead, so for approving our FDP and their constant support. I would express deep gratitude to our principal sir for encouraging and helping us towards the execution of this particular FDP. Thanks to Dr. Y.S. Rao and Dr. Reena Sonkusre of our department for extending the help. My words fall short to express the feeling towards the organizing team, Professor Milind Parai, Professor Dayanand Ambawade, Professor Sneha Vike, and Mr. Srikant Goswami. I express my sincere thanks to all of them for taking pains to execute the plan. We had several deliberate meetings, etc., and always being with me in every step in this journey. I would say pillars of this particular event, the resource person. So starting from our chief guest, Dr. Alka Sharma, her talk was also equally crucial and important in this particular FDP. And other resource person, as just enlisted on this particular slide, who has agreed to conduct the session. Special thanks to Dr. Samaik Mulkutkar in this list, who because of whom I could connect the other three doctors. Going ahead, I would like to thank all the deans, HODs, all the dignitaries present here, and all my colleagues for their continuous support. Sincere thanks to the heart of this FDP, that is you all, the participants, for showing interest in our FDP and joining with us in all the sessions and actively participating.